Hi there, hope you're having a good day. Welcome back to another video. Today we'll be talking about D'Angelo Russell's newest shoe with Wade, and this is the Ice Blood 2. So retail price is set at 119 US dollars on waveway.com. I'll leave the link to get these in the description box if you're interested. There are also a few other colorways available. I'm very happy with how this yellow pair turned out. They call it flammable ice. Reminds me of the colors on a peach. Whenever they make it a bright yellow with some purple on it, I thought it's just a little too Laker themed. But this is subtle. The icy blue colorway, I thought that one looked super clean as well. Anyways, not to confuse with his previous shoe, they also did an Ice Blood V2 about 2 years ago. If I remember correctly, this was priced at 99 bucks. So 2 years later, they go for $20 more. Personally, I think it's affordable, but not cheap enough. We'll compare them soon, but most importantly, I'll let you know how this matches up against their other products at the end. This time around, let me make it clear. I think you just gotta know what type of hoop shoe you want or prefer before you consider making the purchase. If you're looking for maximum cushion and bounciness, plush and supportive materials, this shoe gives you none of that. It's the direct opposite actually. If you're looking for a lightweight and minimal shoe, this is extremely light. So let's talk about that part first. For US size 11, they measure to be just over 350 grams on the scale. It's more than 100 grams lighter than this onion right here. Well, I mean, this is a big ass onion, but you can name any lightweight hoop shoe in the comments right now. We can compare their weight. Aside from the Gammas, I have never had a shoe this light, including their own weight flash, the Lee Ren's GT Cut Academy, Jordan 1 Take 3 and 1 Take 4, the recent Down Issue 6, you name it. Some of the lightest shoes on the market still aren't even this light. You immediately feel that once you get them in hand. Again, it all comes down to your preference. Some people prefer to go Commando while they sleep. Then you have those who returns used underwear to Costco. Given the extremely low weight, the Ice Blood 2 is actually not too weak. I had a really fun time playing in these, despite having quite a few concerns to begin with. Performance-wise, cushion is honestly not bad at all, given how light it is. If this was the Adizero Select 2.0, for example, with poor impact protection and heel cushion, that would have been quite disastrous. Luckily, on top of the Cloud Plus foam, they also put some boom on the midsole. It literally says on the heel there, 75% boom. It's also partly exposed. So this is basically the same setup as their Fission 9. This formula, at this particular price range, I think is softer than average. Surprisingly comfortable, responsive enough, so you do get some decent feedback underneath. It's still a relatively thin midsole, however, so don't expect anything crazy delicious. Just a subtle bounce, that's it. The shoe feels very low to the ground, and movements felt smooth and comfortable in them. So compared to the previous Ice Blood V2 cushion solid upgrade, by all means, this is certainly not a stiff cushion setup, all thanks to the implementation of boom in there. Now, traction is interesting because it slowly improves with more playing time. At first, even on a fairly clean court, I just didn't feel like it was a strong grip. It was also almost silent against not much dust picked up really. But later on, it got better. I could hear more of a nice squeak too. Running around in them, I got to a point where I was very confident in how it stops. So it feels and sounds iffy in the beginning, but breaks in nicely. So over time, the outsole performance became pretty good for me. In the forefoot area, they have like these puzzles inside of a big pot or puzzle pieces pattern. It's also colored like a heat map on this colorway. Kinda unorthodox, but works well. Honestly, there are two brands out there that I think have completely figured it out in terms of tuning their traction patterns or the type of rubber compound used. Those two brands are Wade and New Balance. In all of the recent releases, I don't recall one bad experience getting to a hard stop. Nike and Adidas can have some outliers at times where traction wasn't satisfactory. And if you think about it, that's really one of the fundamental performance aspects of a shoe. So anyways, I meant to say that you're good to go with the traction here on the Ice Blast 2. Durability for outdoor use, I'm really not sure as we speak. I haven't used it outside myself to be able to make a call on that, but this rubber does feel decently firm. With the fit, this is an easy decision right here. For the majority of people, I think the best option is to go up a half size. Wave shoes, I usually do the half size up, with the exception of Wave 11 and All City 12 Encore. Those two, true to size, fits me better. Ice Blast 2, go half size up. Width is on the narrower side, so for those who have very narrow feet, right on. I think you can get your true size or normal sneaker size. Slightly wider feet like mine, half size up is sufficient. I was actually even worried about not being able to step my feet inside because look at how narrow it is, especially from like a top-down view. But turned out you just have to loosen up a couple of eyelets every time you put them on. Once you're in, you're in. There's not too much squeezing going on that made it uncomfortable for me. So they kind of fit like their Shadow 4 and Wave 10. Very wide feet, I'd say maybe just avoid these to be safe. Once again, if you normally wear a size 8.5 in Nike shoes, let's say, go for the 9. If your true size is a US 10.5, go for the 11. By the way, there is no heel slippage going up a half size, so it's pretty secure back there. Moving on to the material, this is not regular season D'Angelo Russell right here. This is playoff D'Lo. There is no ice in the vein. One word to describe everything, cheap. I mean, there's definitely no soft or plush feeling in hand. They are quite plasticky. Over time, the upper started to wrinkle awkwardly because there's just not enough support or any firm texture to hold it in shape. The diagonal lace closure didn't help either. I can easily bend it, twist it, or fold it in half basically. I know a lot of you really hate that. But similar to the GT Hustle 2, with in-game usage, I personally never had an issue with this. If you were to bend this sideways, there's also no torsional support, which can be concerning based on your playing style. For my extremely flat feet, this is quite comfy actually. I took them off after a long sesh. They didn't heat up too much and they didn't cause me too much soreness. So playability and breathability, no problems at all based on my experience. Well ventilated is a mild way to put it. There's a ton of airflow. It's just that on paper, the material, also stability and support really suck to be honest. Design-wise, no signature shoe packaging. They just come in the standard black Wave box. On the shoe itself, we can find some details about D'Angelo Russell. It says ice in my veins on the front part of the lateral side. On the exposed foam, those symbols might be D'Lo. I'm not too sure. On one of the insoles, it says Wu Wei, which means fearless in Chinese. On the other left shoe, it says family. That's a pretty cool touch, I thought. Oh, sorry, speaking of insoles, there is no insole this time. It's like a one-piece stitched onto the foam that you can't remove. So if you were to put like a pair of move insoles in there, I don't think that would be an option. But there's no weird feeling on feet. In a sense, that contributes to the minimalistic setup and helps lower down your feet on the court even more. The shape of the silhouette is not too curved like a boat. Designed to be a guard shoe, yes for sure, but there also features like a small outrigger part to settle things down a little bit, if that makes sense. Overall, let's just say that this is a specialty hoop shoe. For those who prefer to go the naked route down there, on your feet that is, I didn't feel like I was wearing shoes when I was playing in these. That's also because the core feel is fantastic. Transition is incredibly smooth. At the same time, the downsides are pretty clear too. Lack of torsional support, upper rigidity, and just very cheap material that doesn't really hold up in shape. All right, now let's look at some comparable options. First one that pops up to me is their Weight Flash. That's a $99 shoe, also super light. Ice Blast 2 here has better cushion. That's the determining factor to me, so I picked these, if price is not as important. Then moving to the same price tier, they also have the Shadow 5, Shadow 5 V2, and Fission 9 at the exact same price. I don't think this is due to recency bias, but the Shadow 5 might bring you more trouble than benefits altogether. The insole problem, I've brought it up many times. There is no insole here. Well, this is a lot easier to break in, easier to use, more comfortable on feet, even though the stability and support are nowhere close to the Shadow 5. So I'd also take these, but it's not as good as the Fission 9 to me. This can be considered as a narrower version of the Fission 9, perhaps more flimsy version too. Against their more expensive shoes, this is more so a mismatch right here. So I don't think we need to do a head-to-head against the Waveweight 11, let's say. Because of how crazy light it is, I can't really think of a shoe from another brand that this reminds me of. Maybe the Curry 2 Low Floetrol. Yeah, that might be a good analogy. Soft, not the supportive type, but absolute minimalism at its best. As always, I'd love to know how you feel about the Ice Blood 2 down in the comments. I think for bigs and heavier players, maybe just avoid these to be safe. And as long as your expectation is a minimal hoop shoe, this was a fun one for me. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.